Hi, Heaven. How you doing? Hope you're well. Welcome in. Yes, I am BC. I am getting ready to go to a fitness class. Oh, cool. Yeah, so basically, I've been looking into some of it. So some people are struggling with pull-ups, right? They might not be able to do a proper rep. So there's actually a bunch of regressions that people can do to actually help them get their first full rep. One of them being assisted pull-ups. So like, instead of getting under like a high bar, you would get under a lower bar that's probably around kind of waist high or just above, maybe around your stomach. You get under it and then you would like, depending on how much you bend your legs, are you going to use some assistance from your legs over time, using less and less assistance. So they call it jackknife pull-ups. So that's something, yeah, I know, yeah, BC, yeah. Yeah, so basically the jackknife pull-ups are like a easier way to do pull-ups. If you can't do a proper pull-up, then that might be a way to help to, progress towards it. Especially if people are starting off with a high body weight, maybe they're, a bit overweight or something, that could be a way to progress. Once you get good with the jackknife pull-ups, then you could then work on another form of assisted pull-ups where you would say use one leg as assistance, and then you would kind of just eventually get to a point where you can do full pull-ups without any assistance at all. That's the idea. So it's all about just kind of doing those slow incremental progressions over time. The problem is that sometimes people are trying to progress to something and then they can't do it, and then they're like, oh, why can't I still do it? I've been trying for so long. But then sometimes you have to take a step back, build up that strength first, and then do it. Some people would talk about band-assisted pull-ups as well. Those could also help, but there's actually been some argument that the problem with band-assisted pull-ups is that the bottom end of the range of motion can be basically, well, it can sort of be too easy, even on an easy setting, even on an easy resistance. I'm from the UK, where are you from? So the thing with band-assisted pull-ups is that some people find that they can do a whole bunch of band-assisted pull-ups, but when it comes to actual pull-up strength, then on the regular pull-ups they can't do a single one. Oh, French. It's like, so because they haven't built that bottom end range of motion, it was like when I was doing like partial pull-ups, but then I didn't have the ability to do full pull-ups at the time. So like that's the problem if you only train a part of the range of motion, or if the bottom end of the range of motion is too easy. Like, so for some people doing band-assisted pull-ups, they might find that doesn't really help them that much to actually get their first full pull-up. So in that case, maybe like doing negatives might be a good idea. Really just like trying to control the eccentric. And the longer that you try to, kind of take on the eccentric on the lower end phase, then I think that might help you with getting your first pull-ups. So that's another option, as well as the negative pull-ups. So instead of like doing, say, partial reps of like regular pull-ups, is then trying to just slowly lower yourself down, going through the full range of motion, because you are still working the same muscles, just in reverse. That still translates to pull-up strength, So you might find that once you can, do a few seconds, let's say 8-10 second, negative pull-up, let's say, then you might be able to be at a point where you can actually do a pull-up. So, hello Ashwini, hello Fakaba, how's it going everybody? Hit that like button, subscribe, and yeah, share the live out if you can. So that's just something I just thought I would share with you guys. I might make some video at some point on it and show people how they can actually get their first pull-up, because some people can't even do a single pull-up. Especially if, like I said, a lot of guys who are starting quite heavy, or they're just starting off quite weak and they're struggling to, with the strength to body weight ratio to be able to do a single pull-up. But yeah, because there's quite a high percentage of people that cannot do a single proper pull-up. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this chat. I don't know. But we don't have any mods in at the moment, so just got to deal with it myself. Hello Lenny. How are you doing? What does that mean? Maybe I should just get off here or something, because what's the point, If it's just going to be a bunch of idiots, then maybe I should just come off, I'll give it a couple of minutes, see if any serious people show up, but so far just a bunch of idiots. Okay. I don't know what's going on with the algorithm, but yeah. I don't know. Anyway. Been getting a lot of these idiots lately. Anyway. What are you sorry for? I'm just getting rid of all the nonsense. I can't be arsed with it. Oh, really? Okay. Fuck me. Yeah, I'm just getting rid of all the nonsense. You know what I mean? If you're not coming in here to actually have a proper conversation, then I'm not interested. I mean, hello, good night, Munchie. How are you doing today? Hope you're well. I don't know. I might need to try and get some more long form content out at some point. Just haven't really got round to doing that for a while. But yeah. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about, maybe on a longer video, let me know. I know what you think about that. Hello, Emily. Oh no, what have you been up to? I'm okay, thanks. Just, yeah. There's all the friggin' trolls and stuff, but it's just draining. Your content is growing, really? I don't think so. Sleeping a lot, been feeling really low and felt ill. Oh no. I hope you're feeling better now. I don't know, is it just the time of year or something, or what's going on? Yeah. So there's kind of like periods like that where we just kind of struggle to motivate, and yeah. Anyway. So I was talking about progressions, the pull-ups and stuff, and you can use different easier variations instead of a full pull-up. Like, some call it self-assisted pull-up. No, I don't have a dog. Height, why? It's about 6'4". Oh, go away, just... I mean, if you've got nothing good to say, then why are you even here? Hello, Kevin. They're all here just to be negative. You know what I mean? I'm trying to just crack down on these idiots, because it's just probably going to put off any genuine people, really. I want genuine people here, not a bunch of fucking idiots. It's just draining, and then it's not going to be good for me. I know people were saying that I shouldn't block them, but I'll just time them out. If they're going to be stupid, then I'll just keep timing them out. And if I have like a mod, I'll just tell them to time them out. They start saying bullshit. Oh really? That's sad. Yeah, that's sad to hear. Anyway, cut pull-ups. I can only do about 5, but I've been trying to work on that. But it was only a few months ago I couldn't even do a single full rep. Hello, Crazy25. Okay. I'm just getting rid of all the nonsense. You know what I mean? Either be serious or just be quiet. Push-ups, probably about 30. But like I said, being taller does make things harder. So even though I'm quite strong, body weight exercises are more difficult. Hello, one dark rep. Oh, that's good. What made you quit your job? Oh, congratulations, Keisha. You good, bro? I'm alright, thanks, yeah. I want to try and... Oh, from Nunavut. Alright, that's in Canada, isn't it? I don't know how you pronounce it, but yeah, I've seen that place before. I'm on an off day from working out, rest day. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot yesterday working out, I just didn't feel like it. I couldn't even do a one-arm dead hang yesterday. So, hopefully I'm going to be recovered. No, I can't do muscle-ups. Again, it's just strength to body weight ratio. Even though I'm quite strong and I can lift some pretty heavy objects, but it's my body weight, over 100 kilograms. It becomes exponentially harder as your height increases and stuff. But yeah, it's not like an excuse or anything, but these things take a lot longer. Like, you've got people who are like 150 pounds or like 11 stone or 10 stone even, and they're like, they'll just make that shit look easy. I would recommend the Pug Plug. Little Hoppy Hop. Swedesboro, New Jersey. Oh yeah. New Jersey. I remember we were talking about oh yeah, it's you, Clyde. Yeah. I was like, yeah, it's Clyde Rembrandt. Because I was actually thinking about you. I was like, oh, I wonder, it's weird, isn't it, how things like that happen. So we're talking, yeah, I remember we used to talk about some, like, spiritual kind of concepts and stuff around kind of more, kind of like what some people might consider as metaphysical, and yeah, it's Yeah, hello, Mr. Kit Kat. And good night, Munchies 53. Oh yeah, 53. Manny YT says hi. How you doing? Hope you're all well. Hit that like button. So, I'm in military. No, I'm not. I know I might look like it, but no. Hello, Vishab Sony. I'm from the UK. Where are you from? Nice to meet you. Anyway. But yeah, just, there's a lot that science will say is like a fact, but then it's a lot of it's assumptions. It's like, there was a thing that Terence McKenna says, something like, I think it was something like, that scientists are like, give me one free miracle and I'll explain the rest, or something like that. And it's, what that basically means is it's like, well, they assume one thing and they just explain the assumption basically. It's like, but what if the assumption is like not true to begin with? Then all the rest of it goes out the window then. So yeah, we're all just kind of speculating really on things. Like, we all speculate about consciousness and things like that, but science will be like, oh, it's, you know, the brain just somehow produces it all, and that's, well, I just feel like it's an incomplete explanation and just doesn't really get to the fundamental of reality. Hello, Rolf. I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing? It doesn't get to the fundamentals of things. What did they say about the Big Bang Theory? Because I know that Robert Lanza talks about how consciousness created the Big Bang or something like that. Some theory around that, like biocentrism. I mean, hello, Jeffrey. Give me one. That was the one. Give me one free miracle, and we'll explain the rest. That was the thing I was saying about, like, basically, as in, one free miracle is in, like, we don't have to explain one thing, but we can explain the rest, but like, we have to assume something kind of like is how they do things at times. Hello, KK, how you doing? I don't really know much about the USA, but I just think the whole Trump situation, and there's just a lot of division over there, isn't there, you know? It's crazy. I feel like it's all by design though. There's a lot of, it's like over here we've got this kind of, one side is very kind of like, you've got this like populist kind of side with the, you know, like the Nigel Farage and the more nationalist type of people, and then you've got the other side which is like the more kind of a bit woke kind of people, but it's not quite as extreme, I don't think, as it is in America. That they have very like polarized politics over there. What do you mean Bad Bunny broke the USA? I don't know what we're talking about, but yeah, it's just there's certain things like speed of light and stuff that gets assumed to be, you know, like constants and things. We're talking about, you know, how the gravitational constant. Oh, really, Cherry Road? I don't know much about all that, but invest in gold and silver. Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, just like, yeah, Illuminati. We were talking about this the other day on someone's channel, and it's like people think of like Freemasons and stuff, and like but does those have really any power anymore? But I think the way I see the Illuminati is, it's a kind of interconnected thing of, like, I don't know if there's like if they operate the way they used to, or whether, I don't know. For example, we've got things like the World Economic Forum and all these, you could say, like these like kind of organizations that are you know, kind of, but is there some kind of thing behind it? Like, I don't know, but it's like, we don't know exactly what's going on out there. Who's really pulling the strings? Like, people will say, oh, it's BlackRock, or it's this or that. Well, maybe they're all pulling each other's strings, I don't know. I don't know if there's a sort of, you know, coordinated kind of, you know, group at the top that is pulling everybody else's strings. Because we'd talk about things like Bill Gates and all that. Is he really, you know, like the one that we should be kind of, it's like, you know, I mean, everyone's like trying to, oh look, that's like the devil kind of almost. Well, people say it is the devil, but some believe that there's an Illuminati that's kind of beneath that or something, but the devil's something that we don't see, and it's just, I see it is that the devil is just a sort of, you've got light and you've got the dark, you could say. Like we could, you know, something called about duality and how there's two different forces, like the good and the bad. There's like good and bad forces, and what you on about, Ryan? Just fuck off. Do I believe in God? I mean, what if we are God? You know, that's the thing, that when people talk about God, it's kind of like a loaded question of like, what do we actually mean by God, for a start, I would argue. Yeah, well, you talk a lot about what you don't even see. Why don't we take a moment and appreciate what we do see? Yeah, no. Let's make excuses for rich and powerful. No, definitely not. I'm not saying, I didn't say that as in like, I'm not making excuses. I think you might have took what I said wrong. I meant as in, is it really this kind of, I don't know if it's as much of a coordinated thing as what people, as in like, I meant as in like some kind of conspiracy of like tens and hundreds of thousands of people all working together in some kind of secret society. I mean, yeah, there is, you know, all these, you know, dark societies, whatever you want to call them. Like, you've got things like Knights Templar, you've got all these things, but as in, is there really this kind of, you know, thing about like people just, or as in like, are they pulling each other's strings? Is it really this unified thing, is what I'm saying? Is it really as unified as what some people make it out to be, like some kind of, like people call it the Illuminati. I mean, that's what I mean, is like, I'm not saying there isn't evil out there. Of course there's evil groups of people, but are they really all coordinated, or are they just all, is it just all greed and just corporate greed and conglomerates and whatever? Do they all really, I mean, you could say, I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on up there. All we can do is speculate, and there is a conspiracy, but they are not all powerful. So what are you saying? Well, yeah, I mean, I do agree that there's people up there that, like, upper echelons, and they're really smart. There's like, I mean, you've got things like the CIA, but it's like, what I'm saying is, are they all connected in some way? Now, I've heard this theory about the city of London, Washington, D.C., and Rome, as in the Vatican City, that these are all some kind of coordinated sort of triangle, if you will. And that they're basically all like sovereign states, if you will, sovereign territories. Like, in a way that they're all, it's almost like they're their own country. Like, Washington DC isn't really in America. Same as City of London, or the Vatican City, obviously that's been known as like what some call it a principality. It's like it's its own place. It's its own sovereign territory, and some believe it all goes back to those three places. Is there some kind of coordination between those? And that's what the theory is about. Yeah, but they were talking about finance, but it also, well, basically that's the city of London, from what I've heard, that they are the financial district, and then you've got the Washington DC, the military district, and then you've got the Vatican, the religious district, and they all kind of, are they all coordinated? I don't know, but it's just something I thought I'd mention, because that's where a lot of the power seems to be coming from, those three cities, or territories rather. Ring of Power, oh yeah. Empire of the City, I don't know that one. They're having chopped tomatoes, sardines, mackerel, and wholemeal rice and herbs, healthy. Oh yeah, that's pretty healthy then. Yeah, so, oh no, it's just, I don't think we're really going to fully understand how they operate and who's really kind of pulling whose strings, is what I'm saying. All we can do is speculate, and people talk about Illuminati and whatever, but I guess you could, it's like, what do we define as the Illuminati? Because, we could talk about the dollar bill and the kind of pyramid with the all-seeing eye at the top, and that's what, the image is in people's minds about the Illuminati, that kind of, the all-seeing eye, like this sort of symbology of, I mean, basically that what the Illuminati is to do with being illuminated. So some argue that we can all become the Illuminati if we get to a higher level of enlightenment, in terms of spiritually enlightened. But you could argue that those at the top, they use it in a dark way. They use enlightenment and darken society. I could tell you, but you'll ban me. What you on about? What are you on about? Why do you bother coming here then? I do have opinions on certain things, like for example, the world's, fucked and whatever, and I mean, to say that I don't have opinions is quite a exaggeration, I would say. I mean, so you're talking about, you could go on about Israel and all that, but doesn't Israel connect to the Vatican or something, possibly, as well as DC? I guess probably all of them actually, but it probably all connects in some way. I mean, have you ever heard of the Jesuits before? The army of the Vatican, and some believe that there's a Jesuit influence on things. Yeah, the Rome Christianity and all that, but religion's to me it's all a psyop and just a way to, I don't know, it's at this point, it's just a way of dividing people, I think. It doesn't seem to be serving much of a good. You got all these people arguing over which version of God is right or something. It's just all a bit of a mess, really, the different religions. And so, yeah, I mean, Israel, I would say, is actually, and But I mean, there's the whole DC thing. It's all connected, I believe. It's yeah, because DC is like, you know, that aren't they like in bed with like Israel or something? You've got the, you know, like the whole kind of anyway, not yet. I will be working out later though. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday because I just didn't really feel like it. I wasn't really recovered. So yeah, well, I should be doing something later. But I just think it's like, yeah, just, I mean, was that Ottoman Empire before WW1? I think so. If I remember, like, well, it wasn't even called Israel until 1948. It was actually Palestinian territory. And then before that, it was something else. I mean, it's changed over time, but I don't know. I just feel like it's all by design, a lot of it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on out there, but I just don't trust any of it. I don't trust. It's like there's this whole Palestine-Israel conflict thing, and I feel like it's all just as part of some kind of divide and conquer ploy. Oh, which side are you on? Are you on Israel or Palestine's side? I'm like, I'm not on any side because I don't agree with all the atrocities on either side. Hello, Gandalf. I don't agree with any of it, so yeah. Yeah, you're so intelligent when you're onto it. I'm on the don't kill people side, exactly. I don't care what side is doing it. There shouldn't be fucking innocent people, you know, it's not right. You know, we should be just like, be on the pro-peace side. And I mean, I know like, you could argue, well, we're never going to have true peace or whatever, but you know what I mean? You know, unaliving and maiming innocent people is not something that we should be supporting. As far as I'm aware, both sides are not guilty. Sorry, but both sides are not innocent. Like you've got, you know, there's the whole Hamas thing, and they're all corrupt. But then Israel are also corrupt too, and that they have, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that the people that are on about the government, the state, it's all. But what is it? Piers. Not Piers, it was, what is it, his brother, Jeremy Corbyn. Jeremy Corbyn was like, now I know some people might think that he's a sellout himself, but he was like criticising the Israeli government, and then he had a bunch of smears of being an anti-Semite. Well, what is an anti-Semite to start with? Hello, the Shields, I'm doing fine, thank you, how are you doing? What do you mean, Michael? So like, what is an anti-Semite for a start? Do these people even know what an anti-Semite is? Look at the actual meaning of Semite for a start, and then, because it seems like people just throw these words out without actually knowing what any of it means. Like they're just coming up with whatever bullshit to try and smear. There was actually an episode of Coronation Street where someone was talking about like the Rothschilds and all the elite bankers, and then the person that he told then went and told somebody about how it's just a, you know, an anti-Semitic trope or something, or it's a typical anti-Semitic trope. Like it's almost like they're trying to program people to. Basically, it's a way of dismissing somebody, and even to try and shame them as being some kind of, oh, it's an anti-Semitic trope. You know? Yeah, it's all around that area. I think isn't even Arabia kind of classed as that, but the point is it's not just the Israel place. In fact, Palestinians would actually be considered as Semites. So it'd be kind of ironic to call somebody a anti-Semite if they're, you know, if say they were pro-Palestine or something or whatever. I'm not saying I'm pro-Palestine. What I'm saying is I'm pro, you know, sort of life in that sense. Now I know that I don't mean as in the whole kind of, you know, like the other type of pro-life. I meant as in I'm pro people not being bombed. It's like, well, it's not their fault that, you know, so other, you know, people are kind of conflict. It's like the thing is that there's that saying, and not the quote from System of a Down. Why don't the presidents fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? You know, because they're getting all these militaries to do all their dirty work for them. You know, risking their lives out on the battlefield. You know, so it's a trick we always use it. Who said that? You know about the whole anti-Semitism or something. I'm just saying that I'm on the side of justice and fairness. That's what I'm on the side of. What do I think about Russia? I don't know what's going on with all that. I just heard that there's a lot of bullshit going on, but I mean, it's I've heard Putin's a fucking dick, but they all are, you know. All these politicians, whether it's Trump, whether it's Putin, whether it's, you know, any of them. I don't have any trust in any of it. I think it's all by design. They're inherently corrupt. If anyone wants to seek that level of power, then you could say that they are inherently corrupt. To be able to dictate how people live their lives. Well, there was this thing on the 5 stages of government. I was talking about this. It was something. Who was it from? It was ancient Greece, I think, something like that. Was it ancient Greece? It was from that era, anyway. It was 2,000 years ago, anyway. Something. This was a very long time ago. The 5 stages of government, which starts off with like it being about based on philosophy and all that, and then it becomes more and more corrupt, and then you have the rebellion and like anarchy as a response to that, and then tyranny as a response to that. But what are you talking about? Really? All right, 13th tribe. Okay. Yeah. Wasn't that like Jesus? Wasn't there 13 tribes or something? I don't know, but what do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, that's the thing with like Ashkenazi is actually like European. It's yeah, Central and Eastern European, from what I remember. But anyway, hope you're all well today, people. What's Levantine? I don't know what that is, but yeah. Hope everyone's well anyway. Probably be getting going soon, so thought I'd just come on for a while and say hello to everyone, but I don't know if it's because I've been kicking out all the trolls that they've all just kind of gone. Because, yeah, we're not really getting much of that in here now, so So that's good. Or people of Caucasus Mountains who converted to Judea under a Russian Tsar who was Jewish. Oh, really? Yeah, I've not heard about that. Yeah. Yeah. Just, I don't know. I don't know what's really going on with all the world right now. I try not to like get too invested because at the end of the day, a lot of it's put out to distract people. I think it's put out either to distract or divide. So they're either trying to get everyone together or to distract people from something else. Is what I think they're trying to do. What do you mean, Pat Wildebeest? Who are they trolling? What are you talking about? Anyway, so yeah. Well, yeah, it's just they have us distracted with different conspiracies and what have you. I just kind of like I try not to just believe in anything anymore until I've got enough evidence for it. Like someone was saying something like I don't have any beliefs or something, whatever it was, but the thing is there's a lot of things that are just I just don't have enough evidence for it. Like until I have enough evidence to to believe in something, then I'll just be like, I'll try to keep an open mind, but I just feel like a lot of things are put out there to either be some kind of psyop or whatever. I mean, what you talk about, the bar, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean. It claims that much of the Greco-Roman architecture are artifacts of the totalitarian empire. I have heard about all that. So you believe in all do you believe in all that mud flood stuff or something? I mean, I've looked a bit into that. It's just, again, it's one of those things I'm like, is it just a bunch of people with too much time on their hands just coming up with some speculative theories? And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's hard to really trust anything, but it's just like I've looked into all sorts of theories like flat Earth, and then it turns out that was just some kind of BS that people got involved in. I mean, hello Julian, how you doing? No, I'm not, turning to any religion. I think all religion is just, it's just not substantiated in my opinion. A lot of these Abrahamic faiths, and like, whether that be Christianity, Islam, or Judaism. What's that? Okay. So like, they put all these things out to kind of, it seems like they're either trying to test what people will believe in, or they're using it as some kind of like discredit tactic by that, oh, are you one of these flat earth believers? That could be what they'll do, because as soon as you start talking about that, then suddenly nobody takes you seriously anymore. Because I remember someone was, where they would talk about flat earth, let's say, and then else that they would say then just seems ridiculous, even if they might have some good things to say. Because they say, like, even a broken clock is right twice a day. But the problem is that if they see you as just cuckoo and crazy, because you have one crazy theory, then they don't believe you on anything else. You know what I mean? It's just, we have to be careful what kind of rabbit holes we go down, because I feel like it's almost like it's some kind of tactic to get everyone believing in a bunch of crazy theories, so that anyone questioning the establishment and all that is then made out to be some flat earth believer and whatever, you know what I mean? It becomes kind of like a meme of like the tinfoil hat wearing flat earth believer, and it's almost like they want some people to believe in it as a way to just, to muddy the waters. They need their myths, legends, and lore to counter Western hegemony. The Eurasianists like to push the idea of a fight between Hyperboreans and Atlanteans. I don't know much about that. I don't know. Hyperboreans and Atlanteans. Again, I'm kind of lost here. Some of the stuff that people were saying, it just goes right over my head. I'm just not really someone that's really versed in all that kind of stuff. So what I mean is like, it's like, for example, maybe we didn't go to the moon, but then that doesn't mean that the Earth is flat, kind of thing. It's like, I don't know. I still don't know if we did go to the moon or not. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But I would like to see it happen again in full HD and in a way that could not be fabricated. Maybe they could find a way to do it where it would be proven to be done legitimately somehow. Like it would be done, like, for example, we could see them going up and you could have it live streamed the whole time so that you know that they're actually going where they say they're going. Now, some might argue that could be fabricated, but surely there's some way to do it where they could actually show it, to be like basically prove that they're actually doing it, prove that they're actually going there, that they have a constant feed all the way to the moon where they're live streaming things where there's people on the rocket or whatever, and they can just show that, look, they're actually going there. You know what I mean? It would be nice to have something like that where it would just give it a lot more credibility, I think. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about, like sunrise and sunset. You know what I mean? There's a lot that does not make sense on a flat Earth. Even the whole thing of a sunrise and a sunset itself shouldn't really happen the way that it does. Also, the moon appears upside down in Australia to where it does in the UK, which is consistent with what you would expect on a globe. On a flat Earth, if it was upside down, the moon would actually appear squished. Otherwise, you would actually be seeing two completely different sides of the moon. You would actually see the dark side of the moon if it was on the flat Earth, if it was actually a spherical shape. Because of perspective, you would see the other side of it. But yet we only see one side of the moon. So they can come up with whatever bullshit theories or whatever, but yeah, who knows if it happened, but it's just, again, it's stuff that like that even that is just, we don't know. We'll never know. It's almost like they let us run with certain theories just to keep us distracted. It's like, I think there's something off with 9/11, but then people start arguing over technicalities of it, but at the end of the day, I think we have to look at who benefited from 9/11 and what was the purpose of it. That was used for some say it was actually used for a few different reasons. Some believe it was some kind of insurance job because there was a lot of asbestos in the building. Another theory is that it was done as a, what else was it? Maybe that they did some kind of, for like say, because that was just before the whole Iraq war situation with the weapons of mass destruction, the whole war on terror, and that could have been a big event to try and kind of shape people's consciousness in a way to get them to kind of accept what was coming, like a sort of, what do they call it? Not predictive programming, but what's the word? There's some kind of, I guess priming people, I guess would be the right word, like to prime people for what's to come, like do some kind of, either some kind of false flag or something like that, to get people into a certain consciousness that then that would kind of justify it to them that going out to war, because oh look, well this thing has happened, it's unalived 3,000 people, all this scary kind of like, you know what I mean, it's like, but then if it turned out that that was all not what they say it was and there was other people involved to make it happen, then that would change the narrative on things and people might have had a different perception of war on terror. So that's the thing, it's was that all done as a kind of primer for war on terror? Because some reckon that Israel might have had something to do with it. You know, going back to the whole Israel thing. I mean, there was that whole dancing Israeli thing, wasn't there? Which seemed a bit quite, I don't know, but you actually wonder, like, did they have something to do with it? The Israeli government or something? And some reckon that Bush had something to do with it, but I think they're all kind of in bed with each other, so the chances are they might have all had something to do with it. WTC7, yeah, that was the thing. Well, what they're trying to say is that the reason why WTC7 went down is because of something to do with debris from the Twin Towers hitting it and weakening the structure or something, and then that somehow caused the building to collapse at free fall speed, which, I don't know, it doesn't really seem quite right. Like, it just, there was like this whole physics on it, but like apparently it was actually up for a few hours after the towers went down. So, hello Batgirl, how you doing? Home job, you on about inside job? Batgirl, is that Batgirl? And yeah, how are you doing? Not seen you for ages. So yeah, so like how long it took for building 7 to collapse, because apparently it was reported on the BBC that it had gone down, but it hadn't gone down until 20 minutes later, and you could still see it in the background. And then they tried to be like, oh, well, it was just some kind of error, it was not, you know, kind of, hello, Mrs. Gigi, how you doing? Yeah, I don't believe that they did, wondering. I mean, it was minutes. What was that? Let's see what it says. Hang on a second. So it went down, hang on a second. It says it was hours of fires initiated by debris, is what I meant, as in that it was supposedly went down, it collapsed in approximately 8.2 seconds, following hours of fires initiated by debris from the collapse of the North Tower. The building experienced a total collapse, including a period of almost free fall for about 2.25 seconds. So some are saying, like, well, how did that even happen? that it was, I think the first one went down quicker than the second. You're on about the towers. Yeah, that's the thing, that they found the passports somehow, which seemed a little bit convenient, right? Yeah, they hit that higher, right? Which, yeah, so apparently there was hours of, who's that, Prashant? Well, that's what they're saying caused the Building 7 to collapse, and because some people say that, how did Building 7 go down when no planes hit it, but it was said to have been caused by debris. Now, you can argue that that's, the BS. I don't know what to believe anymore, like I said, it's just... But apparently, there was this thing called Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, where they found that it just wouldn't make sense from a kind of physical perspective or something, like, hello, boiling frog, how you doing? That the physics would not make sense, apparently. I don't know what to believe. Would it have gone like in a vertical down, as in like, is what I was thinking. Why did it fall vertically? Would it have not toppled over or something? Like, I don't know, again, because it suggests that there's some kind of, it would have had to have like equally kind of been weakened everywhere, all at once. That it had to be all at once equally weakened tower to a point where it could just collapse like that, instead of it, being at a certain angle where it kind of all toppled over or something. Yeah, that's the thing. It's fact, isn't it? Wanted war for oil. Yeah, the whole weapons of mass destruction sounds like BS to me, but it sounded like an oil grab. Like, a lot of wars are there for resources. I think all this fucking Ukraine-Russia thing is just, again, just more bullshit. More about trying to exploit resources, and they were built for that whole purpose. What you're on about, to get knocked down or something. I remember there was this thing about the date that the 9/11 was, as in the Twin Towers. Let's have a look. What was date? Was it Twin Towers built on which date? So let's see. It says April 4th, 1973. But so someone was saying how there was some kind of significance with that number. If you was to add up, I don't know. There was all where people start getting into numerology and stuff. Okay, well, if you don't like it, then just go away. Then, I mean, why don't you just buzz off? I mean, very sad. R.I.P. to the lost and the loved ones. Yeah, I know, it's sad, isn't it, that people lost their lives that day because of corruption. So yeah, construction started 1966. But I remember someone was saying something about the date of it. But I think maybe people look into these things too much and try to find some connection. They'll look at dates, they'll look at the years and stuff, and try to find some kind of meaning to it. Like, for example, people be like, 9/11 equals 9 times 11, 99, and then what's 9 times 9? That's, I don't know. It's like people will try to find some kind of connection. What about what's happening? About the whole. Hang on, what were you talking about, Batgirl? Yeah. But the point is that we can't trust anything from the media, really. What would have happened if the UK stayed out of World War II? I think the conflict should have been limited to... Yeah, this is a thing of other countries getting involved in people's wars. Well, there's this whole thing about allies and shit like that, but yeah, I think it should just be the government that deals with it, not the people. You know what I mean? It's like I said, system of a down. Why don't the presidents fight the war? Why do they always send the poor? They're having everyone else do the dirty work, risking their lives. Like, they've all got blood on their hands, basically. Hello, Mr. Dexter. Should be the army. What army? I mean, I don't know. I just think that a lot of times they're just kind of having all these people just fighting it for them, but they won't go out and fight it themselves, will they? The government. You'll never see all the government going out and you know, fighting all these people. You know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, I do feel like something's about to burst because there's been all this, you know, immigration stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with immigration itself. Hello, Charlie. But what I'm saying is that I just think that, yeah, like you said, they're trying to brew something up, I believe. I don't know, or whether it's intentional or not, but something seems to be brewing because people are getting sick of this shit. You saw what happened with Southport, and it might only take one more big event to like completely just send us all into like a civil war. Yeah, it is fucked. But I don't like to really think too much about these things though, because what the hell am I gonna do about it though, you know? Like, we can sit here talking about this stuff, but at the end of the day, what can we do about it? Hello, Winthorn. Yeah, talking about how we might be on the brink of a civil war or something. People had the power united. Well, that's the thing, but it's like they're trying to deliberately turn everyone against each other. Like, they want to have everybody at each other's throats. Who and why? What do you mean? They're on about civil war. If things don't change, it will be Sharia law. Yeah, well, I was saying the other day, like, because someone was in the chat saying that, oh, there's only like 6% of British people who are Muslim, but we don't know what the actual real percentages are. But the thing is, that could change. You know, who knows? Like, in decades, it could. The rest in our own. I know it's just fucked, isn't it? Just for you talking about this shit, you can get. I mean, if you say the wrong thing, you can get arrested. It's fucked. But yet they'll let these people just fucking run free and just, you know what I mean? So what do you think they're here for? Like, I mean, those it's just something odd about it all. Like, this whole kind of thing with, they're all military age men, right? So what's that all about? They're all military age men. Like, why is it all military age men here? Like, where are all their families? Why did if they're fleeing war-torn countries, why are they not coming with their families? Why are they leaving all them behind? Did they not give a fuck about them then? It just doesn't make sense to me, like, what, unless there's some other agenda going on. Hello, Marie, what you saying? I don't know anything about that. Can you explain? Kara, I have a cab check every year. Oh yeah, I think you talked about that. It's not just, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's that whole thing about, it's just, whenever something could become like a religious, based on religious ideology, and the thing is, right, someone was in the chat the other day saying that Marx caused an impact in the world, but philosophers don't. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, of course, philosophy can have a massive impact on the way people live, and it can change how people think about things, and philosophy, you could say philosophy and religion are kind of tied together in a sense of like how religion and philosophy, you could say a lot of it, or vice versa or whatever. I mean, it's kind of a linked thing, I would say. It's so. I mean, for example, if we had, say, something like Sharia law, then that could completely change these laws based on religion, which is a philosophy on life, you could say. It's somebody's beliefs on how somebody should live their life, someone's ideology on that. So, of course, religion and philosophy can have an effect on that, even to this day, even though it's less prevalent in some places, but in certain parts of the world, religion's still very prominent. So, yeah. Philosophy doesn't include religious ritual. It's also more of a dialogue instead of a lecture. Yeah, but it's like, but I would say philosophy is about how people live their life, and it's, I would say that it has a effect, because you look at, say, like Aristotle and how they changed their views on astronomy and things like that, and they started to kind of see things differently. Before all that, they thought that, the earth was flat and all that kind of stuff. A false prophet, alright, really. Who's that false prophet? Christianity began as a cult too. I mean, a lot of it as a cult, really. Religions are cults in my opinion, but yeah, I would say that philosophy can have a effect on things in society. Whether you say it's not the same thing as religion, but yeah. But would you say that philosophy leads to religion, or what? You could say that really comes from a cult, but you could say, well, a cult is based on an ideology, like people believe in a philosophy of life. So I don't know, but it's just throughout history there's been a lot of bloodshed over religion. It's caused a lot of chaos. You could argue some good has come from it as well, but what is the overall effect? Some might say, well, it kept some people in line, but also all the division over it is bad. So I don't know, it's all a mess really, but it is what it is. Who's a protected species? You're on about the whole Muslim thing or something? I mean, you've got all these words like Islamophobe and stuff like that. If you're somebody that is concerned about Sharia law or something like that. It's like, if you go to a different country, you have to respect their laws. It's like, there was that whole thing about the headscarf thing, the whole burqa thing, right? Little Thomas. I remember there was one of the people that was against it in terms of like them wearing it in public, because they thought it could be quite because they can't see them, can they? It's like someone could be wearing one of these things and be like, how are they supposed to identify them? Let's say they're on CCTV. It's going to be a lot harder to identify, aren't they, if they're all wearing these things, you know what I mean? Phobia is fear, yeah, exactly. It's like, it suggests that you have a phobia of Muslims or something like that. Yeah. Telling us we can't fly a flag, yeah, it's bullshit, isn't it? Heat. What about heat? So, like, why did they wear the burqas in the first place? I mean, why do Muslims cover their face? I mean, not all of them cover their whole face, but it's saying about primarily as an expression of faith, piety, and an elevated interpretation of Islamic modesty, often aiming to avoid being judged on appearance. But the problem is that we live in the West where, if they want to live in the West where people need to be able to be identified if they're committing a crime, for example. Like, we don't let people just go around wearing ski masks, do we? You know, these like balaclavas. You know what I mean? It's like they're just kind of, they want things both ways. They want to be in a country with a completely different culture, but they also want to be able to have their culture at the same time, and it can clash. But the thing is, there was a guy called Jack Straw MP in Blackburn, and there was this whole chaos over it because he opposed it. So there was all this like protesting and shit against it. His plan to try and get rid of it. Yeah. One world government. I mean, how do you think that's going to happen? What are your thoughts on the idea of Project Bluebeam, like a staged alien invasion? I've heard that theory before, that what if they do some kind of Project Bluebeam and then that's their way of like bringing about the one world government? Or is it going to be something else that brings it about? Pick on our own what you mean. Pick on our own. What are you saying? According to Pew Research Institute, Islam is 2 billion strong and still the fastest growing religion in the world. Get over it. Okay. Well, that's like your opinion. Hello, Adun Danu. I mean, we're talking about how if people are coming into this country, they should be respecting. Well, they can, they can practice their religion as long as it doesn't interfere with the values and the culture of this country. You know what I mean? What are you saying, I dummy? Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just get rid of all that nonsense, and yeah. I know he did, but Churchill was beating the anti-H drum for years. The invasion of Poland was the excuse for war. Poland. So what you're saying that it was... Hello, Sophia. Good to see you. How are you doing? Hope you're well. So you're saying that the invasion of Poland, that was all the other stuff was all a smokescreen. It was... What you're saying that the whole Austrian painter thing was... I mean, I've heard something about that the Austrian painter was propped up by Rome. I was talking earlier about Jesuits and stuff and their involvement in this whole kind of political shit. Like, that apparently Rome had a big influence on basically propping him up. There's more Christians than Muslims. Yeah, I think he's talking about it's fastest growing in terms of the numbers. Does that mean there's more people converting to Islam than there is to... I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here or something, but... A Smith grind, I don't know. Hello, Matthew. How you doing? G-Man says, you could have tried more diplomacy before the invasion of Poland. Yeah. I mean, who's you? I didn't invade Poland. Sophie, roads lead to Rome. Yes, I've heard about that. That's the thing, right? Now, they talk about the Roman Empire and all that, Roman Empire falling. But here's a bit of a controversial take. What if the Roman Empire never truly fell and it's just all... let's see what it says about this. As in, like, it's just went underground or something. Yeah. In terms of, like, the whole idea of the legacy of the empire and how it's still for example, you got the whole Vatican City, the whole Jesuits and all that stuff. I mean, you have to look into like things such as like Hitler. I'm sorry, yeah, I don't even know if I should even say that, but yeah, his. You know what I mean? Because people say Austrian painter because of fucking censorship or something. But you know what I mean? So, yeah, Jesuits. Look into and that basically. Well, apparently he had a strong disdain for the Jesuits. Apparently, but I heard something about Rome having some influence or something. So, I want the Jesuits to do with Rome. So, anyway, Churchill was saved from financial ruin by Henry Stratcosh, who was, which I forget the name of, which became the J Board of Deputies today. Oh, I don't know. Again, this is all out of my depth. We can say Stalin, who was worse than the painter, but we can't say the painter's name. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Stalin is literally responsible for way more unalivings than the Austrian painter. It's just, again, it's the whole thing of the winners write the history, they're saying it, the people who, they create a narrative of whatever they want. It's like the whole slavery thing. It's like, I was talking about this the other day, that slavery, like how apparently there was a black slave owner, something in the 1650s or something. Someone was saying something about this, and I'll have to have a look at that. But there was always black and white slave owners, black and white slaves throughout history. I mean, it's just the way it has been. You've always had like people being oppressed by a higher class in some form or another. Yeah. If aliens come to Earth and saw TikTok first, what would they think about humans? They would probably see them as pathetic, to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, but Mr. Beast, what about him? His story, yeah, I've heard that, yeah. Guy Gamer. Oh yeah, I mean, Mr. Beast is just, I don't know, I just see him as just one of those dicks, like, Logan Paul, all these fucking, you know what I mean? Like, why does anyone watch it? It's all just a bunch of kids, really. They're at, like, an impressionable age where they don't really matter, really. So they're targeting at certain people who won't see them for who they are. It's kind of predatory in a way when you think about it, when you target at certain demographics knowing that they will just be a lot more vulnerable and more impressionable. It's like you have a sort of duty that if your audience is largely children, that you keep them safe and that you don't sort of exploit them for whatever bullshit, and because they'll just believe whatever you say unless you tell them this is encouraging them to really kind of think for themselves, but instead of just telling something that as like, oh, you should buy this fucking Prime energy drink or some bullshit, even though there's not really much evidence that it's really that good of a hydration drink, and it just, you know what I mean? History repeats itself just under a different name, yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? That someone was saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but sometimes it rhymes. It's like, there's nothing new under the sun, really. We just have, different phases, like how every so often we'll have economic instability. Like, we have certain, like, patterns throughout history, like every 100 years, let's say, or whatever, that we would have some major event, Like for example, back in 1918 you had the Spanish flu, and then in 2020 you had the coronavirus, and it's like, well, I mean, that's like about just over 100 years apart, but some reckon that every so often, like might be 100 years or whatever, that there's some kind of outbreak, and but some argue that it's all by design. I don't know if the Spanish flu was all by design, but oh yeah, you're nearly 50, yeah, 46 didn't you say you were? More things change, more they stay the same, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what you're saying is then that things start to become more, eventually things become more rigid and starts to eventually kind of settle into a kind of, what do you call it, like a constant great rabbit hole. I mean, I've heard some stuff about it, and I remember some people were saying that that they used masks in that as well, and but there wasn't anything to say that the mask wearing caused bacterial pneumonia, but I don't know what to believe. But I remember that most of the deaths were attributed to secondary bacterial pneumonia. I think a lot of it came down to like people were in like trenches. I don't know if it was actually it was after all that really, but a lot of it was just lack of, they didn't have the same level of sanitation and things, and there was a lot of like, there wasn't as much treatments for things you could say, but bird masks, alright, but masks get the illusion of a pandemic. I mean, the whole mask wearing just doesn't make sense really, because especially people wearing like especially those cloth masks, there is gaps in them because they're not fitted to your face. So just for that reason, that enough particles can get through that it's not going to stop transmission necessarily. It's only maybe going to block a little bit. And even Fauci himself said that wearing masks isn't going to give you the protection that you think it will. It might block a droplet, but but then he changed his tune months later. Okay, Flashpoint. So like we just have all these things about like, yeah. I mean, obviously I do think there was some virus going around. I mean, I was talking about this before, and hello Swappers, I was talking about this with lions. Hello Fernie, how you doing? You alright? We're talking about this with lions because saying how I definitely think there's something, because my dad got some strange symptoms with like loss of taste and stuff, and it was in a way that wasn't normal for like it wasn't normal to have that kind of loss of taste, in that he didn't have the kind of cold symptoms like the blocked nose, runny nose and all that. It was this kind of, he had a bit of a headache, he said, and he had a loss of taste for quite a while, so those symptoms he's never had before in that way. Fusion rock, and people can go on about whatever theories. I've heard all sorts of theories like 5G, and there's all some odd theories out there, but the thing is that cold, flus, whatever, doesn't really cause that. I mean, you have to have a blocked nose in order to lose your taste with that, I believe. There has to be, otherwise that means there's something going on, something to do with the olfactory nerve or something, that's being attacked or something. So there's clearly something else that happened, some other type of virus, a little bit different to your regular flu and other viruses going around, but in terms of like it being at a pandemic level, I don't really agree with that. In fact, wasn't it like a few days before lockdown that they actually downgraded it from a, substantial risk down to a lower risk or something. So this was literally days before lockdown that they actually, the narrative changed. Headache and aching. Yeah, I had some like aches and like high temperature I had. So I was feeling ill and stuff, but like, I don't think it's worth shutting down the whole fucking, country over. Yeah. Then poof, it disappeared. Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing, once they got enough people with the fucking jabs in their arms, then it's like it doesn't exist anymore. Strange feeling in the throat. Yeah, there was this like dry cough thing, and like a lot of people got that, but my husband works in a trauma hospital as a respiratory therapist. People were dying in a matter of days of barely showing symptoms. Yeah, that's a bit strange, isn't it? Because normally things would develop. But what do you think went on there? I mean, obviously those were in the worst of the cases, but I still don't think that there was any kind of, any sort of justification to shut down the whole country for. Surely there's better ways to deal with it than to just shut down all the small businesses and force them to stop running, because a lot of them got destroyed over that. Is it really worth it? I mean, surely we could have protected the vulnerable people without having to, shut down the whole country. Yeah, I am British, yeah. Oh, really? Well, that's, yeah. Everyone's got a kind of, everyone's different though, that's the thing. Hello, Cat's Eye. I mean, some people have certain experiences where they say that, they got very, very ill from it and nearly died, but then you probably just got very unlucky with it. But, yeah. But like I said, is it still, was there still any justification to shut down the whole country? To me, it's all by design. It's all, yeah. The fact that all the countries were in lockstep, for the most part, they were all, surely we could have done a better job of dealing with it rather than just trying to shut everything down. But yeah. You didn't even wear a mask in there, really. Wasn't even busy, nurses were, but yeah, I've heard about that actually, about all the TikTok nurses and stuff. It was made for the job, yeah. That's what I see. It's like the whole kind of Hegelian dialectic. You make the virus and then like, yeah. Yeah, most of them had other illnesses, usually. Yeah, and then NHS corrupt, yeah. Most of them had some other kind of, what do you call it, comorbidity. Like, there was actually a study, I think something like 90-odd% had at least one comorbidity. Hello, Miss Medusa. Who's that? Hang on. I don't know. I didn't delete anything, but anyway. Oh, it's Jade. Yeah, I've not seen you in here for a while, but it's just I can't really go on TikTok at the moment because they keep on causing restrictions and stuff, and when I start getting into topics that are a bit kind of controversial, and I start going on rants and shit, then they will just probably block me. So I still went out and never wore a mask. I never even caught a cold. I mean, everyone's different. So some people did, some people didn't. Well, trying to learn about protein. Oh yeah, protein's important. Yeah. So how's the gym stuff going then? Hello, Pepsi. Oh really? Yeah, I've heard about that. Apparently the Fauci had something to do with the whole AIDS thing, and apparently a lot of people actually died from the medications as opposed to the actual thing itself. But that's a rabbit hole. what was it called, the medication that they took for it. Because apparently that was a whole kind of fiasco or something I've heard. What's that? Gym's okay, my PT is going through stuff, so I'm going it alone right now, which is boring, but that's life, yeah. Well, it's only as boring as you make it, I would say. If you find it boring, then you could always switch things up and try new things, try and just mix up different exercises, and maybe you would do a few reps of something and then switch it up and then do something else. How and where it started is where you need to start. Yeah. Well, this is the thing about all the... I don't know. I think that... I mean, there's people who say that these things are a hoax. This is where I don't agree. There's like people who get too deep into the conspiracy rabbit holes, and they're like, that's where it becomes like off the deep end, in my opinion. You don't like being quiet. Well, I suppose, that's the thing, because everyone's quiet at the gym. It's not a very social environment. Little barnyard. Yeah, they won't give out the figures for a lot of things, will they? It's just, But anyway. But the thing is, we're talking about the whole Brexit thing and how that's kind of a joke. I mean, anyway. Yeah, the whole Brexit thing has just been, like, people thought it was going to, like, crack down on all the mass migration, and the illegal migration, but what has happened is just gotten even more. Do I remember the movie Radio Fly? I've heard of it, but I've never watched it. Brexit did nothing to limit migration. Exactly. If anything, it probably increased it, because apparently the EU was actually, well, if we were in the EU, they would have processed them and actually dealt with it or something. But because we've come out of it, then it's almost like they're just doing the opposite of what people want on purpose. It's like people voted for something because they think, oh, well, it's going to do this. But the thing is, whatever the government say that something is going to do, you should probably think it's going to do the opposite, right? You should probably think that it's going to do the opposite. If they say that it's going to improve migration, then it's probably going to increase it. You know what I mean? It's like, if they say that something's going to save lives, then it might actually cause even more deaths. Or if they say something's going to, you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes we have to kind of see that sometimes it's the opposite of what they're saying it is. Yeah, I just wouldn't vote for any of this shit. I don't vote for any politicians, because I just think that they're all inherently corrupt. Especially at this point, it's like there's too many. What's that? The EU just isn't doing much better. Neither is America, Canada, or Australia. Yeah, it's all just bullshit. It's just all. But yeah, it's just, the thing is, since we're in Brexit now, it's like it's harder to even leave the UK. So if you want out of the UK because you don't like it, tough, because now you've got more hurdles to deal with. Oh, you want to leave the UK now? Okay, good luck with that. There is ways that you can do it. You can go to, like, probably Southeast Asia quite easily. They're quite... Oh yeah, apparently, right. Anybody can apparently go and move to, what's the place called? Svalbard. But who the hell would want to live there, though? It'd be really depressing, I think. Under the NATO Refugee Convention of 1951, we, as well as 51 other countries, are obliged to process all claims to asylum. So, as in, why are we obliged? I mean, so, what if we don't then? You know what I mean? Why can't we just tell them to fuck off, like? I mean, But that's the thing that you were saying, we'd have to leave NATO in order to do that. But then, good luck with that. They did Brexit without any effort to nationalise the UK. Well, they were saying now, like, if say, like, because some might say, like, how the NHS isn't properly nationalised, and I don't know. It's all a bit of a joke to me, really. Like we have all these energy companies and all that are all just raking in profits. Now, some argue for like free markets and stuff, and how in free markets there's competition, and which can improve the quality and quantity or whatever and all that. Now that's the like the argument for like capitalism and all that. But then some people argue that it's inherently corrupt because corporations are inherently corrupt and will just cut corners. So those are two different schools of thought there, and it's like, because you had all these times where these companies are just really charging too much for, like, especially like British Gas and what have you, and there is cheaper ones out there, but some are suggesting it should be a free thing, but then again, the taxpayer would be paying for it. But I would say that the rich people should be, the ones contributing most to it. So I think that, like, if you're earning below a certain amount of money, then you shouldn't be paying tax. Like, why should somebody that's earning up to, say, £40,000-50,000 should be paying tax? Like, they don't actually have that much to give in the first place, so why don't they instead try and get more out of the rich people? You might say, well, that would just end up with higher prices. Well, you could then argue that smaller companies might do better because people would have more money to then contribute to smaller businesses. This is the thought I had on it, but how it might actually benefit smaller businesses, and then it might not actually lead to higher prices and lead to more competition. And so is that, dropping taxes for the like low wage earners and stuff, because that means that the low wage earners have more purchasing power, which I just think would be generally quite good for the economy. The thing is, a lot of these wealthy people, they have a lot of their wealth tied up in assets, and it's not actually being used for anything. It's just being used to speculate. Hello, Curly. Free markets are not the same thing as open borders, are they? So, well, some argue that in a free market that you have open borders because I just remember there was this whole kind of dilemma of like the whole thing where you either have open borders with like the whole kind of capitalists who want to open up trade from other countries and stuff, or they close it off, and then it's not really free markets then, because otherwise it's like, for example, they've got all these migrants that are being used to do like cheap labor and stuff, which I don't agree with that. I kind of see it as a bit like exploitation, really. But I'm a noob. How TF do I reply to people in the comments and tag them? Just put @ and then start typing that person's name, but their handle. Just put @ and then type their handle, and then it'll come up with the name, and then you just click, and then it'll No human is illegal. We are citizens of the world. I mean, I get what you're saying. In an ideal world, we could just move around freely and just not have passports and shit. You know, that would be ideal, right? But like I said, it's the whole thing of there is cultural barriers and things like that that cause conflicts, and like I said, with this whole thing about conflicts with certain religious ideologies and cultural ideologies that clash with each other, and things have to be vetted, make sure that the people respect the laws of the place and the cultures. Not my words or my belief. Oh yeah, you was like quoting it. Yeah, but it's that's what they'll say, isn't it? About we're all citizens of the world, but it's just I don't like all this tribalism. To be honest, I don't like how there's all these different. It would be great if we all had a unified kind of, moral compass and whatever. That's just not how things are. Like we talk about an ideal world of how we would like things to be, but it's just unfortunately that's just not reality. It's like a lot of people have like a utopian mindset on things where it's like they think that we should just have no borders whatsoever. And I've thought about that before, and I probably even advocated for that at some point. But you have to think practically. Could that ever work and we live in harmony with each other? Because some argue that in order to live in harmony is maybe we need some segregation. That might be a controversial take, but I don't care. It's just, it seems like the more they're trying to kind of encourage different cultures together, the more it can cause some disruption. Yeah, government's to blame for it all. It's just, they are the ones that should know better, and they do know better, but they just... But what is it that they're trying to, do all this for? Now, some might say it's just some might say it's because they're trying to use these people for their agendas and what have you, that they're trying to use them as for their that they're trying to use them for the civil war or whatever, and whatever else, or it might just be that the people trafficking or whatever it might be. What do you guys think? See how enriched from diversity worth the increase in... Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? We can't just ignore these things, can we, right? We can't ignore the increases in those incidents happening. People just want to bury their head in the sand, but it's like you can say all you want about, some of these people like Tommy Robinson, and I think he's a dick, to be honest with you, but on certain issues he might have a point. You know what I mean? It is wrong that we are not doing anything about these things, but like we were saying, that if it is a case of we've got NATO with the refugee thing, that they have to all be processed. Some are willing to learn civics and rules, a lot are not. Yeah, that's the thing, is that if people are, then yeah, I think they should be allowed here and they can respect our traditions and things like that. But the problem is what Jade was talking about with this NATO thing, that until we get out of NATO, nothing's going to change. So maybe that should be more of the focus, rather than just talking about the problem. It's let's talk about, okay, how do we actually solve this? Because if it's because of NATO, and that's because that's kind of necessity, then we need to just kind of we just need to kind of sort that out. You like Tommy? It's just I don't agree with it. All this kind of. I just feel like he's one of these grifters, and he's a Zionist, and he's a pro-Israel guy. Like I think that he's probably being paid off or something, and but they say even a broken clock is right twice a day. So like he might have a few good things to say, but then I just see him as like somebody that, you know, because then they end up moving to Spain or something. It's like, well, so much for being a patriot kind of thing. Like, why does he seem to care more about? He seems to almost care more about Israel than he does about our people. Like the way he would keep on talking about his allegiance to Israel. Like I said, my whole thoughts on the Israel-Palestine is they're both guilty. But anyway, Poland got around the asylum issue by making the applicants wait in foreign camps while their applications are slowly processed. Moreover, the applicants they approved were sent to other countries. So what you're saying is that we just end up kind of taking on these people that have been gone through other countries first or something. Goes back to the whole thing of where are all their families? Why are they coming over on these dinghies and, you know, where are all their families at? A lot of them, they come on their own, these working age, military age men, I mean. Why do they all come here? I mean, there is some, I think, that come here to then basically siphon off money. So they make some money here and then they just kind of siphon it abroad. So yeah, so let's say they do some work here, then they just like money that's made here should be then fed back into our system. But what they're doing in some cases, sending some of it abroad. So yeah, yeah, that's true. At least they assimilate, but it's just the whole thing of like, what are they doing with the money that they're making? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like they should be, if they're gonna make money in this country, it should be mostly going on to help the people in this country. Like, let's say they work, you know, whatever, they get, say, 500 quid a week, whatever, and then let's say they send 100 quid a week abroad. That's 100 quid a week that's not going to be going into this system to help keep our economy running. So could you argue that that's just going to, I mean, I don't know, guys. Does it really matter? I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, what your thoughts are on siphoning money from this economy, sending it abroad. Migration is stress in UK social services. The whole thing is a mess. But at the same time, there is some good migration from, say, like skilled workers coming here to, you know, and some of them are hard workers. They do a good job, like the doctors, like Indian doctors, for example. Some of the nurses that from foreign countries, you know, they do good jobs, right? So the thing is like, it's not all bad, but it's just that there's some bad eggs out there that are not being addressed. And until things change in the system, then, like I said, this NATO thing, we need to be kind of maybe looking at coming out of it. Because until then, it's just going to keep on probably getting worse. Because it's like, they're gonna get this message that UK is just going to like, feed us all this fucking bullshit. It's gonna, it's gonna put us up in a hotel. They get this message that's like that it's a land of milk and honey. That's what they're gonna be getting the message of. Oh, we get put up in hotels. We get put up in, and we get free food, a phone, and I've even heard that this is what my dad was telling me that they actually get put up in. They actually get go on days out. I mean, what the fuck? Like, why are they doing all this shit? Hello, Kaylee, how you doing? Our armed forces would be even weaker without NATO support. But it's just, but with NATO, we can't do anything about the fucking migration bullshit, can we? So what are we supposed to fucking do then? You know what I mean? I guess it's one of those things that's just an impossible situation or so, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, 69 million now, actually. Nearly 70 million. Brand new houses are being built for them. Yeah, not being built for the fucking homeless though, are they? You know what I mean? You got fucking people on the street, but yet these people are getting fucking put up, There needs to be more pressure at least on NATO to fucking do something about this shit because clearly something needs to be done about it, I mean, I don't know. You could say, we need NATO alliance or something for our military or something, but I suppose it's like the whole thing of in America where they send money to Israel and they say that, it's because Israel can benefit the US military or something. So it's like, we don't really agree with sending it to them, but it's like, well, if it strengthens our military, then maybe there's, maybe it's worth it or something. Surely most people could learn a trade like auto repair, plumbing, carpentry. Well, yeah, true. Yeah. Aren't skilled workers needed in third world countries? Well, yeah. Well, that's true. But the thing is that more people in this country need to be able to do those jobs then, don't they? I suppose. But then you could say that if it wasn't for all these people coming in, then we wouldn't be so stressed out in the system. Like there wouldn't be as need for as many nurses and doctors if there wasn't so many fucking people coming in all the time, you could argue. So I don't know if that's kind of like having an effect as well, where you've got all this, all these people just coming in suddenly, then you're going to need more workers to, like healthcare workers and what have you. You're going to need more houses built, so you're going to need more skilled workers to build the houses. So, but if there wasn't as many houses that needed to be built, then there wouldn't need to be as many of them. What do you mean? Who's PDF file associated? Are you on about Stormer or something? What we're talking about? Oh yeah, Stormer's just a dick. But I'm just saying, like, if we can't get out of this NATO thing, then how else are we supposed to, kind of crack down on all the, all these people coming in? Like, how are we gonna actually do anything about it then? Because if we're obliged by NATO to process all these asylum seekers, then we're fucked, basically. So you're saying that you reckon it's designed to create civil war then? Because then if people think, well, there's nothing we can do, then people are going to, like, this is what could happen, is where people will take it into their own hands. If NATO's just going to, like, yeah. So this is where people are just going to freak out or something. So you're saying it's not just about people coming here for the, but well, there's like a kind of, basically the system's trying to encourage it. Like I said, if it's seen as like the land of milk and honey, then they're going to come, you know? They're encouraging it. But yeah, what other reason then to try and create civil war and all that, so yeah. Who's let it go too far, what are you saying? What are you talking about? Can't arrest everyone, what are you talking about? We have had the multiculturalism and diversity. The next phase of our replacement is integration and assimilation. So what you're saying is in like the whole thing of Sharia law or something. Yeah. So like when do you think there will be a civil war then? Do you think that's coming soon? Hello Daisy May, good to see you. Pepper is sitting with her, well, what are you saying? What the hell? Oh, you talk about Stormer, yeah. Yeah, it's just... so it's a big club and you ain't in it, you know, George Carlin. I mean... So we talk about Freemasons and stuff, but I don't know, maybe the Freemasons still have some power because, I don't know if you remember, but when the royals exposed as Freemasons, like there was like one of the Queen's nurses or whatever had a fucking Freemason badge on. What the fuck? What the fuck are they doing with a fucking Freemason badge on? You know what I mean? Like, I saw a picture of that. I don't know if it was doctored or whatever, but that's what I saw anyway. So, it's just that there's like 3 degrees of Freemasonry that we see publicly, but the other ones are in secret. So you could say that that's like the secret societies. If there is secret societies, then that you could say that's a part of it. The 4 to 33. So they say there's 33 degrees of Freemasonry, just like there's 33 vertebrae and 33. Jesus died at the age of 33. So is there some kind of connection there with this number 33? But anyway, that's a whole kind of another topic. But Roy says Islam is living rent free in your head. Okay. Anyway, what we're saying, being housed in army bases. Yeah, I know what the fuck. What's that all about? Yeah, it's like someone believes that. Well, like something that is like martial law or something. Because I've been hearing about people talking about that people thought that we were going to get that with the whole kind of corona stuff. That we were going to get martial law, like fucking FEMA camps and shit. But it didn't get quite that far, did it? But who knows is this what they're trying to prepare for? Some kind of, I don't know. Is this the sort of stuff that they're going to try and prepare for, like to have some kind of order out of chaos? Is that what they're trying to do? So someone was mentioning the year 2029 is when the shit's going to really hit the fan. But we will see. Like there's this whole talk about the Agenda 2030. Is that when things are really going to change? I don't know. But it's, yeah, 2029. Only like 3 years ago. Like it doesn't seem like yesterday since the whole Corona stuff. Rough topic, but the amount of religious radicalization in UK schools is getting really bad. It's worrying. What do you mean by that? You're about like kids being brainwashed into it or something, or what's going on? Jerry, I think you just need to settle on what is important to you and find people who share your values. I'm a nationalist and I stand with my nation and people. We are building an army. I mean, okay. I don't know, it's just kind of like, I don't know, I just feel like sometimes that it's hard to be a nationalist when you feel like that your own country doesn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? It's hard to really be a patriot when you feel like your own people are either apathetic or just pathetic. Like, I kind of have a bit of a negative view on people a lot of the time, so it's hard for me to really kind of, I don't know. I can be quite sort of harsh with my kind of judgments on things at times. Like, I don't sugarcoat things. Like, I see people's behaviour, even, like, people want to focus on all the evils of the elites and all that, but sometimes even people on your doorstep can be nasty in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people just aren't even friendly anymore. I'm like, and I'll think to myself, what the fuck would I even want to fight for with this fucking bullshit, you know? When most people just don't seem to give a fuck about anything anymore, so why the fuck should I? You know what I mean? That's kind of thought that sometimes I feel like, you know, I'm like, why should I be proud of my country when, you know, I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those things that you got to try and have a more optimistic view of things and have a more kind of less of a cynical view of things, I guess. I don't know, because sometimes you want to like see the best in people, don't you? But it's like it's hard sometimes. You feel like people. I think a lot of it's just people are brainwashed. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of people have just been. It's like how they got everybody, they got some people to like turn on other people because of the whole jab situation, remember, where, or they would get people like dubbing other people in and stuff. You know, it kind of exposes people in a way that how harsh our, you know, sort of psychological sort of, you know, our behavior can be at times, like how we can just sell ourselves out, or, you know what I mean, like, it's like, there was this thing of, like, people selling themselves out over, let's say, for example, when they would bribe people to do things, they would bribe people to, oh, if you get a job, then we will do such a thing for you, or something, I don't know, or that we will get you a free, so I heard someone talking about this. I mean, if anyone actually did that, then I just think that you're somebody who doesn't actually have any kind of morality or any sort of principles. That if you do something because of an incentive like that, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't take the job if you feel like genuinely that you need to do it, but the point is when people do things because of a bribe. A lot of people will sell themselves out. You know what I mean? People will just do anything for, whether it's attention, whether it's money or whatever. They will do things they don't necessarily believe in, just to get a bit more money. People going along with doing things like performative activism, for example, pretending to be behind a certain cause just to look good and try and get some virtue signal points. Oh yeah, I've heard about Birmingham's pretty bad with all the stuff going on, but yeah, it's just I don't know. So you're from, what was it, Leicester, was it, or somewhere? If I remember, somewhere around. Can't remember exactly, but yeah. Anyway, but vice signaling. What do you mean vice signaling? What are you talking about? You just keep coming in here with your fucking nonsense, don't you, Roy? Yeah, Roy Cropper. Hello, FIFA. Oh, Leicester. Yeah. Yeah, Leicester. Wrexham. Oh, is it? Really? I didn't know there was a lot around there, but, yeah. I don't know, things are just not looking so great, are they? You know what I mean? It's just hard to really have, because the thing is, we talk about manifestation, we talk about, you know, positive thinking, but it's just, there's certain things on a level, like on a system level, that I cannot wishfully think all this to just go away. I can't wish that we have world peace and blah, 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 you know? Like, I can't just have all that, you know, because at the end of the day, like, nothing's going to change unless we as a society change. All I can do is just set an example of what I want to see change in the world. But at the same time, it's like, you know, you're at the mercy of other people, basically, and yeah. According to the Bible, what's this? What the fuck? Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a fan of any religion. A lot of it's just corrupt, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just a way to control people. The Bible says Isaac was 40 and Rebecca was 4 when they married. Really? Is that actually true? Let's have a look. I mean, let's see. Bible, Rebecca, and what is this? Rebecca and Rebecca and what's this? Rebecca and hang on a sec. And Isaac age. Let's see what it says, right? According to Genesis 25:20, Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebecca, while the Bible does not explicitly state her age. Traditional Jewish commentaries, specifically in Rashi and the Seder Olam Rabbah, suggest Rebecca was 3 years old or sometimes 14 at marriage, based on calculations linking her birth to Sarah's death. So we don't know like 100% like how true this is. Then it's all interpretation based, I guess. Hello, Vic. I mean, like, it's just, unless it's, I don't know, I mean, you could say it's because of the Old Testament, which is different to the New Testament. But whether that's true or not, it's like you're trying to kind of, it seems like what they were saying, using the Bible as a way to try and push Islam or something. Because that's what politicians do. They try and push their side while trying to bash the other side. As in, like, they will be like, oh, well, the other side said this and that they're going to do this, as a way to try and prevent people from voting for that side, so they're more likely to vote. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of, like, fine, thank you, Builder Bob, how you doing? I mean, it's all bullshit anyway, so what I was saying is, yeah. So there's all this debate on all that, but people like to cherry pick and then use it to try and push their narrative. Oh, look what it said in the Bible, therefore, oh, Islam must be true or something. I'm not saying that we are saying that, but it's kind of implied. I don't buy the old or new. Nah, I don't buy any religion. I think all religions are fucked. Yeah. It's just, there's all this kind of like, you know, it's all like based on like religious ideologies. It's like in America, it's all Christianity versus just kind of like the sort of liberal, sort of non-religious, secular kind of people. And it's like, yeah, they're very militant and very, in a lot of cases. There was actually this thing on, there was a Top Gear clip where they trolled Alabama with like Hillary for president, and they said everything on their car that would be like the antithesis of Republican Christianity and all that. You know what I mean? It's like they would just deliberately try and you know what I mean? If I study more about the world wars of last century, does that mean I'm giving my energy towards manifesting that disaster? I'm not saying that by looking into something that it does. I think it's all about kind of not giving it any sort of, not attaching yourself to things, I think is what I'm saying. And not, I don't know, I just, I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's just about kind of, okay, Builder Bob. Anyway, Vic says exactly what you're saying. I don't even know what I talk about now, but Batgirl's not religious. Yeah, it's this whole thing. I was talking about the Jeremy Clark. There were all these like Top Gear. There was some challenge to try and get through Alabama without getting arrested or getting shot or something. Like they would just troll them with putting Hillary for president and things like that, and God sucks or something like that, and you know, just trying to like really just like rattle them, and they got into some trouble, and it was like they had to like just like quickly try and leave the place. It was funny, but yeah, so that was a funny clip. That yeah. I have to watch some more of their clips because that was good, but yeah. But some people think Jeremy Clarkson's a bit of a dick, but yeah. I don't know what was the whole thing over, because I remember he got in trouble and then, yeah. I don't follow Tommy, but he's not wrong about what he says. I mean, some things, but it's just the whole kind of allegiance to Israel and how he seems to be more kind of, like he's one of these populist kind of guys, but he's also kind of got his fingers in that pie of like kind of, he's getting some kind of benefit from that, it seems. I'm sure I watched some video where he got exposed as being a Zionist or something. Hello, Craig, how you doing? Good to see you. So like, yeah, he's like this Zionist who's like saying about, you know, kind of homeland of Israel and all that, and I mean, to me, what they're talking about is kind of, by supporting Israel, that does that mean that they are in support of genocide? I'm glad he called out the grooming guy and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's good that he's called out certain things. It's just like I said, even a broken clock is right twice a day, even though he might not have the best intentions, but there is some good, I guess, from him. But anyway. Did you know that the painter wanted to establish a jay colony in Madagascar? No, I didn't know about that. Kids ain't safe anymore, I know. Apparently there's between 400 and 500 of these migrants in Stay City in York. So that's just in York. There's between 400 and 500 of them. I don't know how true those numbers are, but that's what I've been told anyway. Because they're warning me to just, try and be careful of that area at night time, because you never know if they might just, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're all wankers, aren't they? Tories, Labour, Lib Dems, even Reform. I don't trust Reform either. And also you guys might think Reform is like but yeah. Yeah, it's, what's it, not a weird way I would love to have a friend like you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it's just, sometimes it's hard to really kind of have, like, deeper, intelligent conversations with people, because they have this kind of, like, mental block where anything that goes against their preconceived ideas, they just kind of shut it down. It's like, oh no, we can't go there. It's like past the Overton window kind of thing, what they deem as like acceptable views or something. Yeah. So you would bother even voting for anybody then? Why would anyone want to vote for anybody? I don't understand what you would get out of voting, really. Yeah, I know. What would you really get out of voting? Some people said, oh, if you don't vote, then you don't have a right to complain. But it's like, I think these people are missing the point where the whole thing of voting is just, an illusion of power that we have. There is no democracy, I don't believe. So I was arguing with someone the other day about this. I don't believe there is democracy, because I don't think that a lot of these policies are in the best interest of what most people would want. So, but who am I to say, Communism is capitalism and vice versa, and the painter said communism and capitalism are two sides of the same coin. Communism is the state controlling capital and all the resources. Yeah, basically, and you could say that hardcore capitalism is the same way you got monopolies controlling resources, and they can make the laws as well. So, yeah. Stormer, even though I never voted. What do you mean, Stormer, even though you never voted it? What do you mean? He lied to Britain. Oh, yeah. You're on about, like, you voted for Stormer, but you didn't vote for all the things that he's done. What do you mean? Anyway, hope you're all well. So yeah, so how's the workouts going? Are you still doing any workout stuff, Batgirl? Yeah, you still like doing any of that when you talk about like running and things like that? And I remember we had some like kind of, I don't know, I was just in a mood of like just kind of being a bit of a contrarian and just playing devil's advocate, I guess, because yeah, so what sort of stuff do you do then? Is it like, do you do weights? Do you do cardio? Like, what is your kind of, I haven't subscribed to you. I'll just like, I don't know if you do much on your channel, but I'll just give you a sub. Yeah. I knew he would betray us. Oh yeah. What's this? I do my button crunches. Oh yeah, not ab crunches then.
Yeah, bun crunches. Crunching on bunch. Crunching on bun, not bunches. Hang on. I'm getting confused. In the US, there's something called the revolving door between big corporations and regulatory agencies. Corporate executives switch jobs to administrative agencies that are supposed to regulate. Yeah, that makes sense.
That would mean that there's no like real regulation happening, and it's all just a facade. Well, they say how things like FDA and all these supposed regulatory bodies can be bought out, basically. So then we don't have, because there's nobody. The thing is, the problem is there's nobody regulating the regulators. It's like the whole thing on fact checkers. There's nobody fact checking the fact checkers. There's nobody regulating the regulators. Like if you had somebody who was, somebody impartial who could kind of like almost like you have mystery shoppers to add an extra layer of security, I guess. As in, like, we need to make sure that the regulators are in check. You know what I mean? Hello, CJ. So we might have some investigator to go in and just check, make sure that the regulators are doing their job. Because some people just assume, oh, well, we have regulators, so therefore things are regulated. Effort creates habit, creates rhythm, a way of life, second nature. Oh, yeah. There's no more government accountability office. Yeah. At least an hour, a few weights, squats, different stuff. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. An hour a day is quite a bit. Do you still talk with that Jace? Because me and him fell out, so... yeah. Don't know if he's told you about that, but yeah. I did say something quite nasty to him a while ago, but... I don't know. I don't really want to say it on here because, yeah... It's not good. But it was just because I thought he might have had something to do with people getting blocked from my channel or something, so I kind of took it out on him, which I probably shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have gone that far with it, but I don't know. He just kind of come across as a bit two-faced to me, really. I don't know whether I would, I don't know. It's just I've had some dealings with him, and yeah, I don't know if he's really trustworthy is what I'd say. I don't know. Maybe I'm like overreacting over things, but think of moving to Spain permanently. Oh yeah. Hello, Leroy. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. See, why you want to move to Spain? Is it just move away from this country kind of thing? You're sick of it in this country? Because, yeah, if there's going to be a civil war coming, then some people just want to be out the fucking way. You know what I mean? Yeah. So why did Tommy move to Spain? It's like a lot of these supposed patriots ended up fucking off, like Katie Hopkins fucked off to America, didn't she? Like, doesn't she live in Florida now or something? You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know, are you talking to, like, oh yeah. So I don't know, like, if you're there, Batgirl, but yeah, it's just, I don't know, really. But I don't want to cause any drama, I just thought I was just wondering if you were still, so I remember you were supposedly going to be working out with him or something at some point, but, yeah. Hello, socialist. Oh, really? Whatever. Oh, Barcelona. Yeah, I've been to Barcelona on holiday. Okay. Just getting rid of all the crap out of here. I don't know. I ain't got time for any of that. Probably be getting going in a bit, but yeah, I don't know. But hello, Benson. I don't know. I want to be happy. Yeah, everyone wants to be happy. Like, who doesn't want to be happy? No one doesn't want to be happy. That's like, I want to be depressed. Now, some might say that there's this like pity that they are addicted to, but I don't think anyone deep down wants to be unhappy. You know what I mean? That would be like saying, I want to be in pain. I want to have chronic pain. Annie thinks us Brits are hated everywhere, but they love us, really. I'm only going off what I read. There were pics of people booing the tourists. Oh, really? Oh, really? I don't know too much about it, but I mean, the thing is that if British people could be beneficial to their economy, then they should be welcoming us, right? So shouldn't they be like welcoming in people from first world countries? Just a thought, really. Batgirl, are you still there? Oh, did you? It seemed like she left as soon as I asked about that something, but I don't know. Anyway, what's this? The locals, I mean, maybe it was to do with Airbnbs. Maybe. I know there's that whole thing of like people going and, you know, using Airbnbs to make money and then actually pricing out locals from housing and stuff because they're decreasing the supply of housing, which then causes potentially more homelessness and higher prices on available homes. So this is a thing that, yeah, they can actually destroy the economy. It's kind of just parasitic in a way, isn't it? This whole kind of Airbnb shit, really. So, like I was saying, if I wanted to like do some kind of letting out stuff, I would probably do it as like a holiday park. As like if I had my own land, then I have my own holiday park to sort of do that. That's what I think. Maybe that would be a good idea, but the locals, I mean, maybe it was to do with Airbnbs. Yeah, I just read that one there, yeah. I walked into a football shop, please forgive, because it was many years ago, and asked for Real Madrid kids for my boys. Like I said, they were very young, like David Beckham had just gone there. Huh. Really? I do believe in the homeland first, but I have a humanitarian side, but religion is ruining everything. Yeah, that's the thing. It's yeah, it's the whole thing of like religion is just, like I said, if it wasn't for all the religious stuff, then maybe we could all agree on certain principles and things like that. Because if people attach to a religion, that can make them have certain ideologies that are very militant, and like they try and force everyone into that. But what if you don't agree with that? What if you don't believe in that religion? Then that would be forced upon you, kind of thing. If we allowed, say, like Sharia law or any other one, or if, say, Christians forced their viewpoints on everybody, you know, how would people like that? You know, it would be like going back into the times of the church ruling everything. At one time, wasn't it like illegal to be gay or something? I mean, like people were persecuted for their sexuality. That's something that they couldn't necessarily help. Now, some people argue, oh, being gay is not natural or something. But whatever people want to believe, there is a phenomenon. There's some people who are just naturally that way inclined. I mean, that's just like if God made some people be naturally that way inclined, then like, are they a mistake that God's made? I mean, I thought God was a perfect creator, so it's just this whole argument about that, because there is some people who are just naturally that way inclined, like they're just naturally, you can tell, like they're naturally more feminine, and sometimes they're more predisposed to being homosexual. It's just, you know what I mean? So like, there's a natural thing. It's deal with it, you know. Some people are just going to be that way. I mean, if God created them all, then why does he need them all to be straight? You can have, say, like, a certain amount of people reproduce, like, say, 3 or 4 children. It's okay if some of them can't produce children because they, you know what I mean? They're not necessarily, you know, I mean, eventually it would just end up with overpopulation. So, I remember there was actually a theory that God made some people homosexual as a way to kind of prevent overpopulation. I don't know if that's really true. I doubt it. But that was one theory I remember hearing about. But it seems like some people just naturally are more that way inclined, you know? Like, it wasn't pushed upon them by whatever. They just are that way, you know? I think you might be onto something, Lol, really. What, the whole, like, overpopulation thing? I don't know, it's, yeah. The whole agenda of it all, what's that? Agenda of what? Well, I was talking about the whole religion and how it used to, you know, like, shun gay people and stuff like that, and it's not important that someone likes men or women, it's how it's weaponized. I mean, you could argue in terms of, like, how things have been, like, when it comes to all this kind of trans stuff and how that's kind of been weaponized, you could say, being pushed on young children. I don't agree with that stuff. I think it's all abuse at that point, because they're at an age where they're impressionable and they might start thinking that they are the other gender, maybe because they might be, like, say, a gay guy, for example, and when I was talking to someone, they got all kind of triggered at it or something. They got all kind of, you know, like, they got all kind of, like, it triggered something. They were like, oh, you know, like, oh no, they're not. It's not because they're, you know, something. That it's like, we're talking about gender dysphoria, and like it triggered something in them or something. But I'm like, maybe there's some truth to it though. You know, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's all because of that, but I'm just saying that there seems to be this overlap between gender ideology and homosexuality. If they think that they are the opposite gender, is it because they're actually a gay guy or something, and not that they're a woman? If they've been conditioned into that at a young age to think that they're a woman, then that's what they're going to grow up to think. And that can last through their adulthood, if they've been brainwashed. Oh, really? I'm That Penguin. What's a 11 years documentary? Oh, really? Could they potentially twist it to make other things acceptable in society? Well, that's the whole thing of, like, the slippery slope, where it's like, if you start accepting something, then you start accepting more things. It's like, where do you draw the line? Like, for example, this whole LGBT, it like gets to the trans thing, and then it goes beyond that, and then starts to add in MAPS, minor attracted people, into that, which it's like, that's going too far then, obviously. Because why would you be normalising something like that? That is not normal. We should not be... It's like, it's okay about being tolerant to certain things, but you have to draw a line somewhere. After colonization, the populations of Africa and India boomed for some reason. Some say it's because colonization improved their way of life by building infrastructure, etc. But I would have argued that that would have done the opposite or something, I don't know. I would have thought that populations would have gone down after, because usually once they become more civilized or whatever, more advanced, that populations start to stagnate. But I don't know, maybe I'm missing something there. But also, another fun fact, Europeans before World War I were almost a third of the world population. 2 world wars later, we're now just 9%, really. Yeah, well, that's well, you could say, like, with a booming of population, places like India had a big boom of population, and yeah. Anyway, maybe they're civilized, but they kept their historical cultures, whereas some Concord nations' cultures were raised. What do you mean by that? Are you on about the whole thing of like having a lot of children and stuff? And
but then it's like, you could argue that having too many children is not necessarily the best. But we were talking the other day about how they could keep on having more people because of high-rise buildings and stuff like that. But at a certain point, it's like, how much can we keep on? How sustainable is population growth? Will it always be sustainable, or is it going to get to a point of unsustainability? And well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there is conflicts about going on in like Africa and stuff, but obviously in Asia you had Vietnam War. Well, Abdul. Oh, really? I don't know. I don't know what you're on about. I'll have to get going in a second. Hello, Z44. I'm okay. I can just be quite neutral and stuff, but yeah, generally in like, you could say in the East and in like Africa and stuff, that there doesn't seem to be as many wars. So what do you think that's about? Is it just Western civilization and stuff, and there's, I don't know, it's kind of fucked. There's a lot of religious divide, isn't there, in the West, you could say. Is that part of it, maybe, something? I suppose there is going to be different religions in places like Africa as well, but there is a lot of wars in parts of Asia as well, like in Middle East. That's technically Asia, right? In places like Iraq, well, we had the Iraq War, we've got Iran, Afghanistan, etc. Christianity is only 21% of humanity. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have become atheists now, isn't there? You know what I mean? Hello, profile incomplete. What are you saying? I know it looks a bit like an office, but I'm gonna get going, guys. So we'll see you in a bit. Yeah, what's it? Yeah, well, I became agnostic after extensively searching. Yeah, look, that because I see that like consciousness is something that like it's still not really fully explained by science. That's why I kind of keep an open mind, really. And hello, Death Colony. At least that's the theory set forth by McGregor and Doxy. I don't know who they are, so. But yeah, we'll get going. I will be back later. Yeah. Yeah. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great evening or whatever. I'll see you all later. I'm redacting these push-ups today. What do you mean, redact? How can you redact push-ups? Once you've done them, you've done them. You can't go back in time now. Consciousness is the ontological primitive. Matter is merely perception and thought. Yeah, that's what I mean. Biocentrism. Yeah. Alright. See you later. Bye.